Let us try to see the throws keyword in Java. Okay, throws keyword is nothing but it is used to declare exceptions that a method may throw. Okay, let me try to put it in a simpler way. For example, there is a method. Okay, there is a method which you don't want that particular method to handle the exception. You want the calling method to handle the exception. Okay, in that case we go with throws keyword. Throws, throws, throws keyword. Throws. Okay, because there is one more word, throw, that is a different thing. Throws is a different thing. Okay, so when to go with the throws keyword, when we want the particular exception handling mechanism to be handled by the calling method, we go with throws method. For example, I'll try to explain. Let me try switch back to Eclipse. Okay, so here if you see, let me try to delete this. Okay, let me try to create one method, public void add. Okay, I'm just trying to create one method, and now what I'm trying to do is, here I'll try to write throw, throw, throw IO exception. Okay, I'm trying to tell was throw an exception here. Okay, throw new IO exception. Okay, I'll explain this what I'm doing here. Okay, but try to understand this. Okay, so here if I don't want this particular method to handle a try catch or to handle the exception, instead I want exception handling to be handled by the calling method, in that case I go with throws keyword. For example, like this, it is asking me to include, but I'll try to include here throws IO exception, like this. See what I'm trying to tell here? I'm trying to tell, with the help of this throws keyword, thus this method is expected to throw an IO exception, and whatever the method calls this method should handle the try catch handling mechanism. For example, if suppose I call this particular method inside this method main, then who should handle? Main method should handle that particular exception, because it is an checked exception that I am trying to throw. I am manually throwing an exception here, manually. Okay, if a user want to throw an exception manually, in that case we go with this throw keyword. Throws keyword is used to duck an exception or try to tell the method that is calling the method to handle the try catch handling mechanism. For example, like this, I will create an object hello is equals to new hello. I've created the object. Now I'm calling which method? I'm calling add method, like this, okay. So who should handle exception that this method is throwing? This method should handle. So for this I will enclose with the try catch block, like this. What I'm trying to do here, I have created one method add, and as I am manually throwing an exception, this is throw. If a user or a programmer manually want to throw an exception explicitly, in that case he go with throw keyword. If a programmer wants the calling method to handle the exception handling mechanism, he goes with throws keyword, and he will try to include that exception that this method will throw. Okay, so as I have declared this throws IO exception, so it is the duty of the calling method to handle try catch handling mechanism. If suppose even he don't want to enclose in the try catch and he want to delegate the try catch handling mechanism to the JVM, then what he can do is he can just try to include the same code that we have written here. For example, like this, throws IO exception. Simple. Even the calling method also don't want to handle the try catch handling mechanism. He wants let JVM handle. So what he will do? He will write throws IO exception here as well. Okay. So this is the usage of throws keyword. Throws keyword is used to tell that the calling method should handle the exception handling, because this method is expected to throw IO exception. It is not only IO exception, guys, any checked exception. Any checked exception. Okay. At that particular case, we are trying to tell that handle that particular exception. Handle the try-catch handling mechanism for the calling method. If you want, okay, I don't want to delegate the try-catch handling mechanism to the calling method, then what I can do, I can simply try to include in a try-catch block. Okay, I can simply enclose this line of code inside a try-catch block like this. Okay, I've enclosed the finally block. That also works, but with respect to the catch, I will write okay catch like this. Okay, exception E like this. Am I getting that error now? No. Should this method handle? No, this method should also not handle. See, is it giving any compile time error? No, because this method has internally handled that particular exception, or the exception that programmer is explicitly throwing. So we don't want to enclose. But if we are not enclosing this particular try-catch method, try-catch block, and if a programmer is explicitly throwing and he don't want to handle the try-catch handling mechanism, in that case he has to declare with a throws IO exception, and whichever the method that calls that particular method should handle the exception handling like this. If even he don't want to handle the exception, he can delegate to the JVM with the help of same throws IO exception keyword. It is a kind of exception. Okay, IO exception is a kind of exception. Okay, exception. IO exception is a kind of exception. There might be multiple exceptions. For example, if I go here, okay, there might be multiple set of exceptions that we have. Effort don't have IO exception. Okay, IO exception is the one that I have written, right? See, there are multiple exceptions. IO error, IO exception with string. Like this, there are multiple set of exceptions. So all those exceptions can be thrown by the programmer explicitly, right? See, even this is trying to ask. So now what I should enclose? I should enclose the throws keyword like this, exception. This is also a kind of exception. Exception. Okay. So we are trying to explicitly throw an exception with the help of throw keyword. With the help of throws keyword, we are delegating the exception handling mechanism to the calling method. Okay. So this is nothing but throws keyword in Java. Okay. Throw keyword is used to explicitly throw an exception. Okay. So this is the major difference between throw and throws. Throw is used to manually or explicitly throw an exception. Throws keyword is basically used to delegate the exception handling mechanism to the calling method. This is nothing but throw and throws in Java.